Live. There's the Periscope link. What's going on, everybody? Here we go. Buckle up. You guys know what Tuesdays are. 15 game slate. It's Tuesday, July 2nd. I'm here with Laffy, and we're probably gonna be here a while.
Probably. Dude, I tell you what, man. I was up this morning doing a little research, putting everything together. I came across this 10-minute YouTube video from Tyler Skaggs' wedding.
Okay.
Just some terribly sad shit.
Yeah.
Like,
super bummer, man.
he was 27. I mean, we're not going to harp on it. We talked about it yesterday and everything, but yeah, it's like a 10-minute. It's well worth watching, actually. But I still can't help but think what the hell happened.
I mean, I guess we'll figure it out soon enough. Like, apparently I'm opening Photoshop right now for no reason. I don't understand why I clicked on that, but yeah, it's just sad, man. It's just sad. It's really all there is.
It is, but
this is gonna make for a really awkward transition.
Well, our life goes on. We have to do this because
we do.
I told someone on Twitter yesterday, and to be fair, I think I misinterpreted what he was saying. But
I still think you were right.
Oh, you saw it?
I did.
Yeah, you can't. If I would have just stopped doing this because of something like that,
yeah,
it's doing a disservice to everyone else, and it's messed up shit. But
us doing the show doesn't change anything.
No, and by the way, sorry for opening it like that, but it's just something I had on my mind.
You want to transition to happier news for Awesemo.com?
Let's do it, man.
I have a lineup study up on my screen right now. The largest first place payout in a contest yesterday was $100,000. Do you have any guesses as to who took that?
No, please enlighten me.
It goes by the name of Awesemo.
I never would have guessed.
There was another contest. There were two other contests that paid out $50K to first. One of them was not Awesemo. Do you want to guess who the other one was?
I don't feel confident in my guess.
Yeah, that one was also Awesemo. He also picked up a 15K spot, another 10K spot. The boss man made some paper last night.
So he just went heavy on Pittsburgh, didn't he?
I guess. Let's take a look at it. Winning lineup: 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Pirate stack with two-man giant stack. He also took second place in this tournament for $40,000 with a comparable stack. So 140 large coming out of here. Also had sixth of the 13 entries that he put in. 5 of them were in the top 18.
Do you realize how ridiculous that is?
Do you want to know how much salary he spent on the second place lineup here for $40K?
49,000.
You are not even remotely close. $44,200.
What? Who were his pitchers?
Ryan Yarbrough and Tyler Mahle.
So he said it with probably no minimum cap at all.
No minimum whatsoever there.
44,000?
$44,000.
What goes through this guy's head to where just like it always works?
He also finished third in the $10 150 max, losing out to, two separate single bullets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. Would have been another $50K. He took third and fourth in that spot for 14 grand.
So this is just DraftKings?
This is DK. I have been Pittsburgh. Yeah. Also on the deeper dive, he said Pittsburgh is his stack.
He did. He said it's the anti-optimizer play for sure.
He did.
I mean, it made perfect sense, and I know he liked Alzolay as well.
Yeah.
But on a 4-game slate, I think it's an anti-optimizer play, and it shows you why. I wonder how owned Pittsburgh actually ended up being, because
do you want the answer?
Do you have it?
Yeah, so I have the $10 150 max up here right now, the swing for the fences. That's pretty much like the perfect basis for ownership. If I group this by team and remove pitchers.
And by the way, while you do this, they were projected to have 9.5% ownership on DraftKings.
So they were the third lowest owned team.
So
actually, second lowest. For some reason, a couple Angels got rostered. So Giants had. This is just the addition of the exposures. We don't have it's not like relative to one or anything like that. I mean, I could add this stuff up, but yeah, they were the second lowest owned team, 55 total percent. Starling Marte was at 12.5. Everybody else was 8 or below on a 4-gamer.
Yeah,
Alex was like double the field on most of these guys, including 15% Josh Bell, who went for 55 DK points.
3 home runs. Adam Frazier had 4 doubles. Colin Moran had 5. It was 5 for 5.
Every time I look down at my phone, I got a new Twitter alert being like, "Yo, Josh Bell homered." Are these duplicating? What's happening? Is this a Twitter bug?
I know. Well, congrats, Alex. Again.
Yeah, the boss man did pretty well here. He was close to double the field on Pittsburgh, and he was 4 times the field on the Giants, the 2 lowest owned stacks, the 2 that also were the craziest.
I think it may be safe to say baseball's his best sport.
He's doing pretty well. He's doing pretty well.
But that's why people, it's like, oh, if you max enter, you win and this and that. It's like he set he took off the minimum cap settings and ran lineups out there with 6K with literally Christian Yelich left over.
His top 2 lineups in the 150 max $10 tournament. His top 2 lineups that finished 3rd and 4th had 44,500 spent and 44,900 spent. He left $5,000 on the.
What was your lowest team?
Probably pretty close to that if I had to guess. Let me see. Minimax. We'll ignore the big negative red number next to it when I open it up.
Not a lot of Pittsburgh?
No, not a lot of Pittsburgh. Not a lot of Pittsburgh. A lot of the shit that went bad. Let me find myself here. There's probably a faster way to do this. All right, I got me. Explore. Lowest amount of salary I used was 44,000.
Okay.
I used 46 once, 47 a couple times. Most of mine were in the 47s.
Okay. So the reason I asked it wasn't that contrarian to just go super low salary yesterday, especially after the game got postponed.
Jake and I talked about it a little bit on the show about how much we would leave. Tom just said in YouTube chat, what's scary is I don't think it's his best sport.
Really?
Which is scary. I mean, if the answer is WNBA or something, I think that's a little different since the volume won't ever be there to be as exciting. He said probably NBA.
Okay. Well, guess what? Not going to question you there.
No. You know what's really scary? Let's just say those are the top 2. They basically run 24/7 for the entire calendar year.
Right.
Dude never stops. He never stops. He never stops taking down all the scratch because his 2 best sports basically run at exact opposite times.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
By the way, all of the tools he uses are on awesemo.com.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Only minus 64 in the Minimax. Could be worse. But yeah, turns out yesterday was a fairly lucrative day for one Alex Awesemo Baker.
Yeah, they're few and far between, once in a blue moon type deal, but
not sure how he stumbled on some of these gems. Kidding, of course. Kidding. He stumbled upon these gems because he's the best in the world at what he does.
He stomped on him is what he did.
Yes, he did. Trevor Williams, Tyler Mahle, Pirate stack. Rake in the scratch. Bringing in all the paper. Good for him, man. Good for him. Boss man, I'll take a couple shekels. Do we get bonuses attached to your winnings?
Our doors are staying open.
Yeah. We just made payroll. Oh man, yeah. So there it is. There it is. Alex Baker cleaning
Alex
up.
wins, we all win.
We do.
No, congrats, man. That's a huge night on a 4-game slate. That's huge.
Yeah, that's
And it's funny because if you were to listen to him on the deeper dive, he's on with us tonight and tomorrow, by the way, 5 p.m. Eastern. You would have heard him say it like authentically, genuinely saying, there's not a lot of leverage on this slate when it comes to ownership. Well, you found it, pal.
yeah. Oh boy, did he ever! Yeah, he found it.
He was serious,
Jimmy
though,
Bloomfield. I'm not going to repeat your question, but just to let you know, it's the first part.
I'll look it up. YouTube chat?
Yeah, I'll copy and paste it to you. If we weren't brought to you by Yahoo Sports today, I would read it out loud, but this is more of a live before lock comment.
Gotcha.
There you go. I sent it to you in Slack. I want to see your reaction when you read it.
See, I like to do a little bit of both. Starts my morning off nice.
Yeah. What would we be if we weren't pointing out the fact that the name of our website just cleaned up yesterday? I haven't even talked about FanDuel, but from what I understand, it didn't go poorly there either. It's not available in lineup study. FanDuel, step your game up. Get some CSV exports for us. So shout out to the boss for grabbing the Mega 7s, the Medium 8s, and probably every other contest that they named after a number. Whew. You ready to do this, man?
Let's do it.
We're 12 minutes in. That's pretty much our starting spot, but we've got 15 to go, and pretty much every game is in play because I don't think there are weather issues. We're going to have... here we go. First game up. And shout out to whoever mentioned timestamps before. Don't worry, I'm on it. Today's going to be the last day that I'm testing this, and then I'm going to get it installed for Jake. And we'll just be all timestamps all the time. Get it? Nationals and Marlins.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm used to doing shows with Adam, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Nationals and Marlins, 5.2 run implied total for the Nats, 3.7 for the Marlins, 64% chance to win for Miami. Patrick Corbin going for the Nats. Zach Allen going for the Marlins. Corbin, a little chalky, just depends on the site. 27% expected ownership on Yahoo, 4% only on FanDuel, 5% on DraftKings. How do you feel about Corbin here against the Marlins? I get that the price is high, but are people forgetting that, again, it's the Marlins?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the Marlins is the whole lefty-righty thing. Like, they're so much worse from a K standpoint against righties, but they also are just a terrible baseball team. So 15-game slate. What did you say he was on DraftKings?
5% owned.
Yeah, that seems slightly low. He's expensive, and I guess we'll compare him to the rest of the guys here. Nola against Atlanta. Corbin's clearly in a better spot. Morton against Baltimore. That's interesting. You're not going to Minor against the Angels. Boyd's got the White Sox. These are all the guys above 10K. There's 6 of them. And then Trevor Bauer against Kansas City. Just based on those names and their respective price points, I would think Corbin would be at least 10 or 15%.
Here's the problem. I really like Trevor Bauer today. He is also going unowned. He's at 4% on DraftKings.
Wait, what?
The ownership is going to one Charlie Morton right now.
Yeah, see, that's what I would have assumed once you told me that Bauer was that low. But I don't think there's that much of a pricing discrepancy to where Morton gets all of that ownership. It's not that big of a gap.
I expect it to pull in from both sides. Bauer and Corbin to mildly rise to 8, 9. Morton to fall to 26, 27 instead of 34.
Yeah.
I certainly won't feel bad about any Patrick Corbin lineup I get today.
I'm not saying I love him here, but Matt Boyd's also in a pretty high upside spot as well.
He is indeed. There's a lot of quality pitching at the top.
Yeah. I mean, it does thin out a bit, though. It gets kind of ugly.
I guess the easiest way to say it is, like, because of the slate size, I think we both understand why Pat Corbin would be getting a small amount of ownership. But
sure. No.
he's much more talented than a 5% owned pitcher.
I don't expect Morton to be, I don't expect Corbin to be chalk. I just didn't expect him to be virtually unowned either.
Sure.
I think that'll come out to around 10%, like you said.
Yeah, so if you're someone that really likes Pat Corbin today, don't be dissuaded by like ownership or anything like that.
If anything, you should be persuaded by it.
Absolutely.
By the way, Paxton at 8,900 is also going to generate some appeal.
Yes, he is, and he is.
He's probably what, 20%?
22. You were close.
Always am.
Any Gallon for you, unowned across all 3 sites.
Look, I think the kid's good for sure.
Yeah.
But actually Washington is a lot better against lefties than they are against righties. And when you look at that roster construction, it kind of makes sense. I don't hate him. Was he like legitimately coming in unowned, like 1% or less?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
On this slate right now, the way that we have ownership, you're either unowned or owned a lot.
Right. I don't think it's a crazy idea, only because, well, okay, here's the big thing. Like Matt Strom is $6,900 on DraftKings.
Correct.
Against San Francisco, a bad baseball team. I don't care if Logan Allen. That's the wildest chalk I've ever seen in a while, right?
I didn't have it, but I also didn't win on $200,000 yesterday, so who really cares?
But I mean, him getting rocked shouldn't, push you off of somebody like Strom, who's way cheaper than he was. Granted, bigger slate, but I can't imagine that Strom doesn't pull in some ownership here. Tyler Beede, I'm just mentioning this because the low end is almost more appealing than the mid range. So I don't know if I need to get to Zach Gallen when I can just drop down to an equally risky option and maybe match Strom.
I don't disagree at all. I have very little interest in Gallen. Not that he's not good. Corbin will be if we see the Marlins roll out a couple lefties or something. Right now they're projected to have 9 righties, which isn't great, but it's not like any of them are any good. It's the most difficult matchup Pat Corbin can get against the Marlins.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
I'm not sure what did you mean by that?
So, as far as potential lineups go that Pat Corbin can face when he faces the Marlins, 9 righties is the worst sort of way that it can happen.
Sure. Yeah.
They're still the Marlins, but like there are better ways to face them and worse ways to face them themselves. Yep.
I agree with that. Being a righty is a better way to do it.
Yes. Any interest in the Nats? I don't have much, and I think they're going more owned than I would have expected. They're currently 5th in aggregate ownership on DraftKings.
With 15 games, it just feels like it's mildly unnecessary. And we don't really have much info on Gallen yet, at least not at the major league level, but he hasn't allowed any home runs, for one. He hasn't allowed any to lefty. No, he hasn't allowed any home runs. He's not giving up. Well, looking across all of his numbers here, I would say that he's kind of right where he should be right now. It's just not a great spot. You wanted to go with like a Juan Soto or whatever, fine, but there's nothing that stands out to me for this Washington team, no.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way. I like them more in one-off spots, but I think Allen's like a good pitcher. It's not a spot that I want to target, especially when there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 teams at 5 runs or higher.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just say somewhere in that neighborhood. The Nats are also one of them. I don't need to force it in a spot where I think they're actually getting a decent pitcher. They rank for me 17th. So they are one of my biggest gaps between their ranking of ownership and where I rank them personally. I will basically not have them outside of one-offs of like Soto and Matt Adams because.
Do you have interest in any cheap Marlin bats if you're paying for pitching? Corbin allowing 1 1/4 home runs per 9 to righties this year. Any interest there?
I mean, like Starlin Castro becomes a cash play at second base, 2,500, $8 on Yahoo, 23 on FanDuel. But no, this is not a team that I'm trying to like stack or anything. They still grade out pretty poorly.
Yeah, and Corbin's still good.
Right. Yeah, it's not. And if Corbin's not getting any ownership, it's not really helping you out to stack the Marlins either.
Exactly.
If you want to get to the Marlins on Yahoo, where Corbin's at 27, I think there's some mild merit to that. But otherwise, you're just targeting against the guy that's good.
Yep.
Moving it on. See, we're good once we need to do like the literal job that we're supposed to do.
Oh, of course. Yeah, when we're not putting things in our mouth, right?
Pretty true. Pirates and Cubs, people are going to have fun with that one. 4.2 run implied total for the Pirates, 4.8
I said it intentionally.
4.8 for the Cubs, 55% chance to win for Chicago. Joe Musgrove going for the Pirates. Kyle Hendricks going for the Cubs. Hendricks unowned. Musgrove unowned except DK, where he's 5,900. He's also 8,300 on FanDuel, so that's fantastic. Any Musgrove here as a pay down option against the Cubbies?
It's not a crazy idea. No, I mean the Cubs are good, but there's also only assuming Contreras is back in the lineup today. You're only going to have 3 lefties. You're going to have Schwarber, you're going to have Rizzo, and Hayward, 2 of whom are good. Another one is pretty average. Outside of that, you're just going to be loaded with right-handed hitting again. And Joe Musgrove against righties is at least average, right? He's at least good enough. He's got 23% strikeouts is solid. 0.7 home runs per 9, 116 whip. He's not allowing a lot of base runners. He gets decent amount of ground balls. So no, I think assuming you get another 6 righties, which I don't see why you wouldn't in this lineup. Yeah, Musgrove is actually perfectly viable here. And he's been one of those guys all season long where he just destroys your day, or he puts you in a really favorable position, right?
Yeah.
Like just certainly you look at his number. He has been so volatile. His range of outcomes is all over the map. But he's also given you some really solid games as well. So I think that Musgrove at that price is totally in play.
I completely agree. He's at 11% ownership. Ronaldo Lopez, $300 cheaper, currently at 27. I'd just rather have Musgrove if Ronaldo Lopez is in a quarter of the lineups in a contest.
Chalk Ronaldo Lopez is probably one of the worst things you could ever do.
Yeah, like I get it. He grades out well for me too. But
and once in a while he'll put up decent numbers. But
today is the kind of spot where he does it too. He's got basically the best matchup on the board.
It feels like it feels like every time he's expected to, he doesn't. Well, I guess
it's only when he faces garbage teams as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes he ends up being the chalk, and like it's against
Cleveland,
or the Twins,
Yeah.
Where they strike out a lot, but lots of power. Those go poorly. But when it's the strikeout team like the Tigers with no talent whatsoever, that's when he usually gets on top of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not going to deny that Ronaldo Lopez is in a good spot. Plus, he started 2 games against them this year, and he's been ridiculously good. They're a bad team, so I totally understand it. But if you're hesitant to get on a 30% Ronaldo Lopez, I'm not going to blame you for that either.
I would much rather roster the Cubs on DraftKings than roster Ronaldo or Joe Musgrove, though. If I had to pick between the two, I know that's kind of like doubling up on the take here, but if Musgrove does get a little bit of love, if that number starts to rise, the Cubs are basically unowned right now. I would much rather bet on the Cubs' talent than Joe Musgrove as a paydown.
Sure.
Like we've got Anthony Rizzo, 6%. Schwarber's at 11, but he's going to be at 11 no matter what on any slate because he's hitting leadoff. Contreras, Hayward, Russell, Almora, all basically unowned 1%. Baez, 2%. Bryant, 3%. Okay. I think I'll get a little bit more out of grabbing the Cubs.
Wait, you say a little bit more what?
I think I'll get a little bit more value out of grabbing low-owned Cubs than going with the field on Joe Musgrove or potentially whoever else is there.
Yeah, I'll likely still have a decent amount of Musgrove, though, myself.
It will depend on where the ownership moves. If
Well, he's only
if that
11
number gets closer to Ronaldo Lopez's, then I'm more and more interested.
he's only what, 11% right now on a two-pitcher site? That's not that high.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, I mean, depends. No, everybody else in this damn slate is like 2%. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in double digits. Musgrove being the lowest of those.
Yeah, and look, Musgrove's always a sketchy play. I'm not
Yeah.
denying that, but I mean, look, he made a start against the Cubs earlier this year, 6 1/3 innings, no earned, 6 Ks. You come even close to that at 5.9. And the only reason I think it's doable is because it's become such a righty heavy lineup in Chicago.
That makes some sense to me. Do you have any interest in Pirates bats? I assume that they're not going to do this again.
Yeah, no, not particularly thrilled about it. And Kyle Hendricks is a good pitcher. He's generally not someone that I love for fantasy purposes, even though I've been saying that all season and I've been wrong because he's been pretty remarkable from that in that respect. I mean, he really has. He really, really has. Even in like this guy had a 33 fantasy point game with 3 strikeouts, and usually you're like, well, that's not repeatable. And then he goes out and does something very similar only a few days later or a few starts later. He's just so good at keeping runners off the base paths, and it makes a big difference. But like the only way Hendricks is getting where you need him to go at 9K or wherever he's priced across the board is by going like complete game shutout today because he's not going to get the strikeouts. And I'm not necessarily willing to bet on a pitcher giving me 9 innings. You know what I mean? To pay off his salary. He's going to have a tough time mitigating any run damage that's done or damage by way of runs that I couldn't get there. No way. But I've said that a lot this year and been wrong.
Okay. Sorry. Got distracted. I think we can keep it moving, right?
Yep. Yep.
Blue Jays and Red Sox, 4.2 run implied total for the Jays, 5.2 for the Red Sox. 60% chance to win for Boston. Trent Thornton going for the Jays. David Price going for the Red Sox. Thornton, no ownership. Price, no ownership. If I get a couple shares of Price, I'm okay with it. But doesn't feel like a spot I'm trying to get to pitching. What about you?
No. I mean, Price is... I think I'd mentioned this to Adam a couple weeks or a couple games ago, that Price has really flown under the radar this season, and he's been very good. I believe I said it right before the start where he didn't get out of the second inning. Um, but even outside of that bad game, Price has been very good, man. He has. He's got what 82 Ks in 72 innings. He's striking out well north of a batter per inning. He's let me pull this up here. He has a 28% strikeout rate on the year. So the numbers are really solid. 10.2 Ks per inning or Ks per 9, a 1.12 whip, which on DraftKings is very important. Well under a home run per 9, 5% walk rate. These are all just really good numbers that we're getting from David Price. And he's striking righties out at 28.9% this year. There's a lot of good things going on with David Price. The question is, can you prioritize him over the guys above him and below him? This just feels like, this is why I said like the upper mid-range and the mid-range is tough to get to. We'll talk about Paxton, of course, but it feels like no man's land in a lot of these spots.
That's sort of where I'm at. I kind of referenced that in Spotlight Pitchers today too. There's just so many dudes where it's like, okay, well, this guy is $400 more expensive. I can't imagine getting to him. Or this guy's $400 cheaper, so I can't. So many guys are getting trapped in between like very clear plays, and
right.
I think that's sort of where David Price is today. I just can't really prioritize him unless we get some sort of really weird Blue Jays lineup.
Yeah, I think that'll be the case with me too. I mean, it is encouraging that he's striking out almost 30% of righties. And, like the more I think about it, I actually could see Price being, what is his ownership right now?
6% on DK.
Could see him being one of those guys that just, it comes in really on their own and puts up really solid numbers. Like the Blue Jays are a top 10 strikeout team versus versus lefties, or 11th, I believe. They have a 95 WRC plus. Their weighted on base average is equally underwhelming. It's, I think, 314. Yeah, it's the 8th lowest in the league. So they do have power. There's no question. But this Blue Jays team all season has been very susceptible to just completely disappearing, not individually, but as a unit. And David Price has been good enough to exploit those spots. So I don't want to act like I don't have any interest in Price. He is a little bit pricey, but he's been very good this year, and he's shown double-digit strikeout upside in good enough matchups.
Yeah, and this is another one of those spots where it's not as if I expect him to be like, I would be surprised if he was one of the top scorers today. That's sort of what we have going on today.
Wait, you would or wouldn't be?
Wouldn't.
Okay, no.
There are so many guys here. Bauer, right. Corbin, Nola, Morton, Minor, Boyd, Odorizzi, Wheeler, Price, Paxton, Marquez, if you want to get weird. Would you really be surprised if any of those guys were the top scorer today?
Marquez, yeah.
Sure. I mean, I get that that's a different one because of course, but it's not like he's not talented like those.
No,
guys.
He's all dude. I told you going into the season, Marquez was the guy that I had to do something for serious, like a bold prediction, and it was on Marquez because I love the guy. But I'm also, grounded in terms of what I expect from him against the Astros. But your point stands. Your point stands. Like it is no man's land, and David Price having a better game than Charlie Morton or Trevor Bauer or Aaron Nola against Atlanta is hardly far-fetched.
Agreed. We're on the same page there. How do you feel about bats here? Red Sox are pretty chalky on DK, 4th most owned team. They're only 13th, though, on FanDuel. No real ownership going to the Jays outside of Vlad Guerrero. Do you see this as a spot you're targeting offense?
Trent Thornton is also one of these guys that's kind of been all over the map. And he's also been a lot better against righties than he has against lefties. I'm not necessarily sure what to do with him today. So the Boston Red Sox on this slate have a 5.4 run total. But like you said, there are a lot of teams with high implied totals here. Lefties have just been able to get to Thornton quite easily. A lot of home runs, a lot of power, a lot of base runners. Righties, on the other hand, not that much. I mean, he's been average, if not better than average, against righties this season. The strikeout rate's 23%. He's striking lefties out too. But, all in all, it does seem like he fares a whole lot better against same-handed bats. And I have no issues with Boston, but I feel like we're going to get to a lot of teams that we're going to prioritize over them.
Yeah, if they're going to be like, they grade out as my 3rd stack overall, and they're 4th on DraftKings. I get it. I understand why they're getting ownership. No surprise to me that Mookie Betts and JD Martinez are picking up some love. That's a pretty normal outcome for the Boston Red Sox, especially all of these guys are under 5K.
Yeah, so that's what would be kind of the difference maker here. Well, actually, you have it pulled up. We don't need the stack tool to know what the aggregate ownership is on
8%.
Right, which is not very low for a 15 gamer.
Technically 7.5. It's rounded up, so it's like twice the average.
Right
for today.
So as far as run totals go, they have the 5th highest on the slate, tied with 3 other teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, I have them like 7th or 8th, but again, it's a lot of like quibbling over 5.2 versus 5.3. I have Rockies, Angels, Rangers, Rays, Dodgers, Astros ahead of them. I have the Red Sox from this morning at 5.2. But, if that changed a little bit, it could be 3 or 4, and they jump ahead of a couple of these guys. They're in the mid to low 5s.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh,
I have it 5-4, but
okay.
point being, what I was saying is there are a lot of teams either right around them or above them or right below them that are also in very favorable spots.
Agreed. Completely agree. I understand why Betts and JD and these guys are getting ownership because of their price tags. I'll have some, but they are not my top priority.
Right.
And Blue Jays, the only guy getting any ownership is Vlad Guerrero. I think that makes some sense. Like Teoscar and Smoke, I think look okay on Yahoo because of their price tags, but there's no ownership going to the Blue Jays, and there really shouldn't be.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, I didn't have I didn't have the Rockies in there because I didn't have a starting. I was just sorting it by starting pitcher runs against. I don't have the Astros in there yet, so
Gotcha.
there's another team that's above them.
Yeah. Those two teams are quite handedly above everybody. All right, let's keep it moving. Rays and Orioles. 5.5 run implied total for the Rays, 3 run implied total for the Orioles, 75% chance to win for Tampa. I don't know if that's still legit. I had to make that one up this morning. Do we have
Hold on. I'll tell you right now. Give them to me again.
I had 5.5 to 3.0, 75% chance to win for Tampa Bay.
Okay, so 3.1 run total.
Yeah, it's a little tighter than that.
3.1, and then for Tampa Bay, you're at 5.6. Now, the money line on this, take a guess what the money line is.
I already pulled it up.
Okay, 325.
Oh, no, that is not what it is.
What are you talking about? Sure is.
Minus 290 on Pinnacle right now.
I had him at 325 about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. I had it at minus 300 like to start the day. That was my guess.
Either way, 325 and 290.
It doesn't matter all that much.
Once you get to 250, it doesn't matter.
No, it does not. It does not. I'm updating my line.
Actually, I'll tell you what. It went. I'm seeing now at 265 now. So what a big swing.
So I updated to what I've got at Pinnacle right now, total, and
we can trust Pinnacle. It is the best one out there.
Yeah. So
I use something else because it's easier for me to put them down.
I got you.
But
I've got 5.1 to 3 right now, 73% chance to win. Either way, it was north of 70.
You have 5.1.
Yeah.
You are right. They came down. I have 5, 2, 3, 9. Either way, high expected win percentage and not a lot of runs for Baltimore. We can agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. Charlie Morton going for the Rays. Asher Wojciechowski going for the O's. No one's starting Asher in this spot. Charlie Morton, 31% expected ownership on Yahoo, 19 on FanDuel, 34 on DraftKings. He is the chalk pitcher of the day, and I don't disagree with it. Surprise, surprise, playing against the Orioles makes you have a really nice spot. Morton's good. I completely agree with the ownership, but I'll say this much. I like Trevor Bauer just as much, especially on Yahoo. This one's the one that surprises me. Morton is 31% owned on Yahoo. Trevor Bauer is 7% owned. Bauer is $5 cheaper.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. I'm not even sure what to make of that, actually. I mean,
we just got an update in ownership, so shout out to Tom for that one.
Already?
Yeah, he thought that everything was a bit too clustered together.
What a guy.
I'm not going to lie. I agree. Let's see what we've got now.
He's a rapid response team.
Yeah. That's great work, Tom.
Morton actually went up.
Not sure whether it made a difference.
Morton went up.
Down 3% on DK.
What?
He's down 3% on DK.
I thought he was at, what'd you say he was at before?
34.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 26. Okay, yeah, 31.
He might have been 26 on one of the other sites.
Still the top owned pitcher.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing's really changing.
This ownership makes sense to me, though. Morton, Lopez, Flaherty, Strahm, Paxton. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Although one thing that doesn't make sense is, and you know what, it definitely could be the case, but Zach Wheeler being, doubly owned to Corbin.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, Morton at 31 now. Look, I completely agree with it. He is 1A and 1B for me right now.
Yeah. Okay, so Morton is one of those guys that also goes overlooked. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves at times just from his ability to get strikeouts. It's like, oh, he's a good pitcher, but is he up there with a lot of these other guys? Well, to a large extent, yes, he is. I mean, on the season, he's got a 30% K rate. His swinging strike rate's at 13.4%. Called plus swing is 33.3%, a really, really high number. So when you're looking at this slate as a whole, you have Paxton and Boyd with higher swinging strike rates, 13.8, 13.7, and Morton's at 13.4. But Morton's also done a better job at preventing runs. And his called plus swinging strike rate, which is so important just because now you're getting an idea of how many strikes are actually counting as far as going towards strikeouts or working him towards strikeouts. 33.3% is higher or is the highest on this slate, even higher than Aaron Nola, who has a very high number in that regard. Those are really important numbers when you're looking for strikeouts, man.
Yeah. Orioles are man. Chris Davis strikes out so much. Good God. It's really hard to not like Morton here, but I think he's getting a bit too much love. There's just too many other arms.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by 31. I honestly thought that it would be like him, Bauer, and a little bit and Corbin maybe 2 times lower, not 6 times lower.
Yeah.
5 times lower.
Yeah, 31-5 on Corbin, 31-6 on Bauer. I just don't think that extra $500 or $1,000 makes up for that gap.
Yeah, Morton's damn good though.
Yeah. No, look, I understand why it's happening. People are going to try to prioritize paying up for bats.
But
We've got a lot of big offense on the day today. But yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards Bauer given this ownership.
Let me tell you one issue that I have. He's been unbelievably efficient this season. Like there's no question about that.
Right.
But here's why. Listen to these pitch counts. 86, 82, 88, 106, 87, 83, 94, 95, and then 105, 101. But what's crazy about it is it's like, 94 went 7 innings, 83 went 7 innings, 87 went 7 innings.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like he's been really, really efficient. The question is that sustainable? Because if it's like, he'll go 7, he'll only throw 90 pitches, but he'll go 7. It's like, okay, that's great. But what if he isn't as efficient? Can he still go 7 innings? Will they let him throw 110 pitches?
I wouldn't, but they should.
I
don't need to drain the gas tank of Charlie Morton on a Tuesday game against the Baltimore Orioles.
No, and I think he's all right. But it is those pitch counts are very low.
Yeah, very.
He's only thrown 100 pitches 4 times this season.
When did Charlie Morton get traded to the Dodgers?
I know. I don't know, man. It's weird.
Ultimately, I'm going to have some for sure. He's clearly one of the better options. Being able to face Baltimore in Tampa is a really great spot. That's as good as it's going to get for Charlie Morton in a game against Baltimore. But I'm going to have a hard time getting all the way up to that 31% number.
Absolutely.
Rays bats are chalky. 5th most owned stack on FanDuel, 3rd most owned stack on DraftKings. Not sure I'm going to get there with that much volume, but it's really difficult to not see why they're a fantastic stack. No one is more expensive than $4,400 in their lineup. Second baseman Brandon Lau leading off. It's a fantastic price. G-Man Choi is only $3,600. The most expensive guy in their lineup, if we ignore Austin Meadows at $4,400, which is comical, is $4,400 Yandy Diaz. I'd rather just pay, $800 less and take G-Man Choi. I get why the Rays are popular. They're cheap. They make things work.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. Wojciechowski, I have no real faith in his ability to get things done. The Rays always seem to. What'd you say their ownership is?
They are 3rd on DraftKings right now,
Wow.
5th on FanDuel.
Wow.
They have 7.8 aggregate. So, just so the ranks aren't too extreme. The Nats are 7.9, the Red Sox 7.5, the Rockies 7.4. That's 4 teams there. So one of those teams is going to be 3rd, one's going to be 7th.
Right.
seems like a big extreme, but it's really like 0.3 of a rounded percentage.
Yeah, no, they will be popular, but they're
Yes.
not pulling away from anybody.
Sure. Yeah, like the highest owned guys are at 12%. Let's not make it seem like they're in the 30s or something.
No, I think what stands out here is pretty simple. The pricing is like they're facing, Walker Buehler or something. Like, Meadows is ridiculously cheap. I mean, you basically just said it. I don't need to repeat you or what you said, but you can get a team with a 5+ implied total into it, your lineup as a 4 or 5-man stack and still have plenty of money left over for pitching or for other bats.
Yeah, they should climb to the top of a lot of stuff based
I
on
think so.
optimization.
Yeah, I absolutely think so.
Yeah, I don't have a bad word to say about them. I just think they're a little overowned. But clearly,
Yeah.
facing Asher Wojciechowski in Baltimore is it makes it a little bit easier to be good.
Certainly does.
Any Orioles bats here against that Morton ownership?
Nope.
Yeah, I agree. You can talk me into a little bit of VR just because of where he hits in the order, his positional ability. Like, he makes for a decent one-off in lineups where you don't have Morton, but this is not a spot where I'm stacking Charlie Morton. Orioles' 3-run implied total is the lowest on the slate by 0.6 of a run in everything that I've entered.
Yeah, and a couple of things though. Number one, Morton really does not allow a lot of power. And number two, as far as base stealing goes this year, let's see. On this slate, let me make sure of this. Just looking at swipe rate above average, which is a baseball prospectus stat that's pretty valuable. I wanted to see how many stolen bases he's allowed in total. Um, okay. So Charlie Morton on this slate has the best swipe rate above average of every pitcher on this entire slate, meaning he is not an easy guy to run on.
Right.
He's allowed only 2 stolen bases this year. That just takes even more shine off of a Baltimore team that does have a little bit of speed.
Wait, say that again? That last piece?
I said it takes even more shine off of if you're talking about a VR or a Broxton or whoever the hell, like if you were trying to just get different, it's a very, very difficult base stealing matchup on top of a terrible power matchup.
Gotcha. For some reason, I felt like you flip-flopped that when you were saying it, and I got really confused.
No.
Okay. I don't have anything else here in Rays O's, do you?
No, sir, I do not.
Feel free to play some Rays. Good spot.
Sure is. It's a good spot for Morton, too.
Yep. Reds and Brewers. 5.3 run implied total for the Reds. 5.2 for the Brewers. Tanner Roark going for the Reds. Chase Anderson going for Milwaukee. Neither guy getting any ownership, and honestly, neither guy should.
Let's see here. Roark, Anderson, Great American Ballpark. Yeah, I'll pass.
It really is that simple. Offenses.
And by the way, I'm more than willing to roster pitchers against Milwaukee. Actually, I think it's a great leverage spot in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
But Shaw being out of the lineup with 33% K rate doesn't help.
Yep.
You know, and they still have a ton of power. It's still a bad park. So no, I agree with you. Oh, and
he's still just Tanner Roark.
Yep.
He's 8,500.
I've said that a lot. I've said that a lot. And then he goes out there and just keeps mowing batters down. 90 degrees in Cincinnati, by the way.
Yeah. So these are the stack ranks right now for these guys. Reds on FanDuel, 2nd. Brewers on FanDuel, 4th. Reds on DK, tied for 9th. Brewers, 7th.
Wow.
Brewers are my number one stack. They also were yesterday, so we saw where that got. It got Alex $200,000 and didn't get me $200,000. They are my number one stack.
I mean, they did put up 8 runs.
Yeah, they got there late.
Yep.
Thanks to the heroic efforts of Christian Yelich's home run.
Yep, and thanks to a very good park too. I mean,
yeah,
that's what you got to take everything into consideration, not just the starting pitcher you're facing.
Yeah, if the Brewers stay at 7th or in that area, then they'll be my number one stack, bar none. I'm a little bit more pessimistic on the Reds, but I understand why they're getting ownership. Again, really cheap, great offensive environment. I'm just sort of like the same as the public, but I'm going to have some Reds as well. This is a fantastic game to get as much as you can. Like it's mini cores basically today.
Yeah, pretty much is, except, dude, I don't have as much faith in these batters here today as you do. Like, I don't think Anderson's very good, but he also isn't terrible. And kind of the same thing goes for Tanner Roark. The thing about Roark is just he should be so much worse against lefties, and I think you're going to begin to see that. I know I've been saying it for a little while now, but just because someone continues to get fortunate results doesn't mean that I'm going to change my opinion of it. I mean, he's got 9% swinging strikes against lefties. He has a 396 x WOBA and a 223 x ISO. Like, those are really not good numbers. Now against righties, 0.083 expected ISO, 0.26 261 x WOBA. Like, those are very good numbers. And Roark has always been good against righties. But I just think going up against a slew of power lefties at Great American, that maybe this will finally be the spot where Roark unravels.
I hope so, because I'm gonna have so much Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope he unravels. So like a cheap T-shirt.
Like a cheap sweater.
Yeah, that'll work. Better. That's better. That's better.
Yeah. Think Weezer.
I can't help you there.
Wait, what?
I mean, I know the song. Not a fan.
Really?
Yeah,
You weren't a fan of Weezer back in the day?
not really. I like the Buddy Holly video because it had the Fonz in it.
Were you listening to like country music or something?
No,
What do you listen to?
I'm a hip hop guy.
You listen to mumble rap?
Not as much as I want to,
Why would you want to? Oh,
because I'm just a
you're
hip hop
you're
fan.
into this like current day
No.
hip hop. Well, it's not. I won't even call it hip hop. That would be an insult to guys like Big L and Biggie and anybody else that actually had good music back in the day. Throw Nas in there.
Yeah,
I mean, the shit that's out nowadays is just pure filth, man. And I say that it's like, oh
most
man,
of it is pretty bad.
I must be getting old. But you know what? I will wear that as a badge of honor with the type of music that comes out right now. Sorry to anyone listening that's offended by the fact that I don't think Post Malone is an ultra talented performer. Yeah,
Ooh.
no, sorry.
Ooh.
You're a big Post Malone guy, huh?
I'm a fan, man. He dropped that Return of the Mac cover on Hilarity for Charity. Damn good. Damn
So
good.
here's the thing about Post Malone, and it was actually on my Twitter timeline. I kind of went on a bit of a rant about it.
Okay.
I actually respect some of what he does. He came out with the Chili Peppers on something, and I was a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. I thought they were terrible in this performance. They're getting old. Uh, there are some aspects of what he does. I'm like, okay, not bad. But then other times where I'm like, oh, this song's terrible. This song's awful. It's not even just him. He kind of the first guy that comes to mind of just this era of music, like Lil Pump.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that is just garbage.
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 Garbage. You know who? I'll tell you who had some super catchy music before the racketeering charges. Takashi 69.
No.
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
at least it was catchy. There's a difference between it being good and at least that was catchy. But if I'm listening to hip, and I listen to a lot of hip hop, but it's like it's Biggie, that Born Again, by the way, with you remember Dead
Incredible.
Wrong with Eminem on it.
Incredible.
Oh, beautiful. The song,
Legendary. Legendary album.
it really is. That type of music to me is like at the pinnacle of good hip. Nas, even some, Mob Deep. There were, Big L's probably my favorite rapper ever, but that's the type of stuff that I could listen to for days. I've tried to listen to the stuff that's out now, man. I can't do it.
For the most part, anybody that has Lil in front of their name sucks. I'll leave Wayne out of this. He kind of pioneered it.
Yeah.
He doesn't count.
Yeah,
But for the most part, you can just assume that that's going to be bad.
Jedi Mind Tricks, Army of the Pharaohs. Those are two of my favorites. They're Philly boys too. Check them out if you never heard them.
Yeah, I think you need to reconsider a little bit on Post Malone.
I'll give it a whirl, but I don't know if I can get. I'll try it. I mean, I'm open to suggestions, Josh. I'm open to suggestions.
I don't see him as particularly comparable to Lil Pump. I wouldn't want to bucket them.
No, I don't.
Not that you're bucketing them, but I just mean like
I don't. I'm not comparing them. I'm saying in today's music, it's like Post Malone is the best version of what you have, and I don't know how much that's saying for the genre. See what I'm saying?
Sure. I'm trying to scroll through right
Like,
now.
who right now is popular that's like, yeah, man,
I mean, Drake, obviously.
never in the Drake. But,
No.
like, I can respect Drake's music. I just don't like it. I think he's talented. I think a lot of them have 0 talent, though, is what I'm saying.
I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, J. Cole is what you're looking for if you're not a J. Cole fan.
I'm not, but again, I don't think that J. Cole is bad music.
I mean, that J. Cole is going to be your closest thing to
What's the
what you
best
wanted in
version?
the 90s.
Right. And I think J. Cole's like, if you're right, if I were to go to one of them, yeah. But,
Meek Mill, Tyler, the Creator. I'm just scrolling through my list here. I'll tell you what, look back at it.
Tyler, the Creator's got some ears on him, huh?
Tyler, the Creator's got some tracks in his past that are pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I just know he has big ears.
Big fan of Travis Scott, although that's probably going to be one that you're not all that interested in.
No, not particularly.
Chris Brown just dropped a new album, depending on how you feel there.
Did you see the song he did with Lil Dicky?
Of course I did.
Hilarious.
Of course I did. I mean, I am a monstrous DJ Khaled fan, but that's mostly just his ability.
Are you really?
Just because of his ability to bring in everybody.
Walk around with his gut out.
Yeah, like I don't love him personally, but every album that he drops, I will listen to more than most because it's basically like a greatest artist compendium.
I have no idea about his music.
Every song is just like, 3 or 4 feature acts with him just being like shouting out his name and shit in the background. But those feature acts are like the most popular people that are in music right now. So it ends up being like a soundtrack to a movie where you get like 40 different people on it because that's just every Khaled track.
21st century Flavor Flav.
You need to watch Lil Dicky on Sway from last week. Dropped a really good freestyle.
His freestyles are nasty too. Like, and the funny thing is he surprises everyone.
He's got my favorite line that I've ever heard in there, and I cannot say it on this show. It is horrible. Horrible.
I'll check it out. He's a big Sixers fan too. He's
from,
from our area. Yep. All right.
Anyway,
we needed to get off the rails somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Mets and Yankees. We'll keep it moving here. Mets 4-run implied total. Yankees 4.8. 58% chance to win for the Yanks. Zach Wheeler going for the Mets. James Paxton going for the Yankees. Wheeler 31% ownership on Yahoo, 10% on FanDuel, 12 on DK. Paxton 28% on Yahoo, same price as Wheeler. 14% on FanDuel, $400 cheaper than Wheeler. 22% on DK, $600 cheaper than Wheeler. I like both of these guys, obviously, but James Paxton's price is weird.
It is weird. By the way, it's funny how every rappers and famous people used to be big this. Now it's all Lil.
Yeah.
This.
Or ASAP Laffy over here.
What's that?
ASAP Laffy over here.
Yeah.
That's the other good prefix now.
What, ASAP Rocky?
ASAP something. There's like 1,000 of them.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. I'll move on because I don't even know how to respond to that.
We could go for an hour right now.
Yeah.
We've already gone for an hour and we haven't even finished the 7:10 start.
No, we're all right. It's as I say it in every show. It thins out quickly.
Yeah.
As I guess.
Yeah. It doesn't.
No, I know. Look.
You guys get paid by the hour or by the show? If it was by the hour, these things would last a lot longer than 2 hours.
That's a great question, though. Yeah. Zach Wheeler, the pricing on him against the Yankees to me is crazy. Like, with one thing you'll hear me say about him a lot is he does a spectacular job of going deep into games. He really does. Very seldom does he not give you at least 6 innings. Like, very, very rarely. But I wouldn't be surprised if today was one where he doesn't, which, by the way, you look at his last 10 starts, he went less than 6 innings in one of them. Can you guess who it was against? The Yankees.
Yeah, there you go.
I saw you typing. I didn't want to leave you hanging if you weren't
I was
listening.
typing to you. The little Dicky line that I was talking about.
Oh my god.
Right?
I gotta check that out. What's it with Sway, you said?
Yeah, just search Little Dicky Sway. It'll be the first thing that comes up.
He's been with him. He's been on there a few times actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, Paxton is too cheap,
Right.
and there's no denying Paxton's volatility this season, and at times in the past, but he's also, like I said earlier, swinging strike rate 13.8%. It's the highest on this entire slate. He's striking batters out at 29%, 29.5% lefties, 28.9% righties. He does not discriminate. He's got the cutter and he's got the curveball that he can put anywhere he wants when it's working. And he's got that fastball that just rises so beautifully. Like when everything's working for Paxton, he's going to throw a ton of fastballs, some cutter, and he's going to buckle your knees with that curveball. And it doesn't matter if you're a lefty or a righty.
It really doesn't. This stuff is fantastic.
I don't know. I don't like the fact that he just sometimes doesn't have it, and he come out there and it just, you don't know who you're watching. Like against the Toronto game, the 3 home run game, you scratch your head as to what's going. Same with the Mets. He just was completely unraveled within a couple of innings. I don't understand it sometimes because what I don't comprehend is how a guy with such good stuff can have so many games where you just don't know where it went wrong.
For real. It's craziness. Do you have a preference here between Wheeler and Paxton?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought I made that pretty clear.
Well, I didn't know if the ownership was swaying that. I understand that it's Paxton.
The reason it doesn't sway it is because even if he has a good game, what's Wheeler going to give you? 19 fantasy points?
I mean, I could see him having a big number here.
Yeah. I mean, anything's possible. I'm not going to pretend that, you can't have a good game against any team, but to me, I just don't see it. I mean, not only are the Yankees leading the league in WRC plus against right-handed pitching with a league-leading 355 weighted on base average and a 226 ISO, which ranks second, but their strikeout rate is 21.1% on the active roster. It's bottom 10. It's bottom 7, as a matter of fact. And they walk at a 10.2% clip, which is the highest in the league. There's just, I don't know, there's so many things about this matchup that are miserable, whether you're facing a bunch of righties or lefties. It's a brutal spot. And it's like, ownership might be different if Wheeler was cheaper than Paxton, but he's more expensive than him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they're really, really close today. It would not surprise me if I ended up with more Wheeler than Paxton.
It would surprise me if I did.
My only concern is the fact that I think I like the Yankees a little bit more than the public.
Okay.
They are at 9. They are basically the Yankees are basically unowned here.
So let me tell you the main reason.
Yeah.
Why I have very little interest in Wheeler today. Okay. Zach Wheeler, as I mentioned, right now we're projecting him at 12% ownership on DraftKings. The reason I have very little interest, we're projecting David Price for literally half of that ownership at a cheaper price against a K-heavy Blue Jays team. So if I'm going to just go low ownership, I'll take the significantly better matchup and a pitcher that's of equal talent. That's why Wheeler doesn't do it for me.
That makes perfect sense to me. No complaints here. I'm really anxious to see what the Yankees lineup looks like.
You like them here?
I do and I don't. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of on both sides of this. I see the upside for Wheeler, but at the same time, I also see like a really, really crazy amount of power from Judge, Sanchez, Voit, Gregorius, Hicks, Torres. And for those guys to be for Didi Gregorius to be owned at 6% today as a $3,600 shortstop
that
is insanity.
Totally sensible. Yeah.
Insanity. Luke Voit, 1%. He's 4,200.
Uh-huh. And by the way, Wheeler does give up pop.
Yeah.
1.41 home runs per 9 to lefties this season.
I'm going to just end up with both sides of this game. Aaron Hicks, 3,900. Aaron Judge is 4,300. He's owned 3% of the time.
They're so good as a team. There's nobody that you can just work around to get to the next guy.
No.
We're all going to see pitches to hit.
Every mistake from 2 to 7 is going to be in the bleachers.
Right. I'll tell you, I'd much rather have the Yankees than Wheeler. And a lot of it has to do with David Price.
Makes sense.
That's all I have on
It'll be an interesting. It's why this just has to be a mistake. If you can explain to me why DJ LeMahieu is 5,300 today on DraftKings as the most expensive Yankee by $800, I would love to hear that reason.
Oh, it's absurd. It's absurd.
It would make a lot more sense if they transposed the numbers and he was 3,500 today.
Yep.
You'd be like, oh, that's a decent value for DJ LeMahieu.
Absolutely. Hey, and by the way, before we move on the other side of this game, Pete Alonso to me is actually a pretty fascinating play. I mean, he's just incredibly good.
Completely agree.
I know he isn't cheap, but listen,
he's $300 cheaper than DJ LeMahieu.
I know. Listen to this, man. 474 WOBA, 494 ISO, 201 WRC plus against lefties. He has 10 home runs in 90 plate appearances.
Yeah.
A home run per every 9 plate appearances against lefties. He's absolutely smashing them. Now, it's a double-edged sword. He strikes out 33% of the time, so Paxton's got that, right? Yeah. But check this out. Pete Alonso's fly ball rate and hard hit rate against lefties, 45 and 58%.
That's so big.
Crazy.
He crushes the ball. He's 11th in my home run model today out of 254 hitters.
And he's facing Paxton at Citi Field.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. I do actually like Pete Alonso quite a bit. And my assumption here, let me just check, is that his ownership will be negligible, 0.1% right now. Sorry, he's up to 0.2. Very low, though.
Yeah, I won't have much Mets outside of Alonso.
No, but I think Alonso's a very good play. Even
I agree.
I completely agree. Cost.
Get a plug in quick.
Plug away, sir.
You head over to the Awesemo_com Twitter handle. Doing a giveaway today. You could win a month of Awesemo Plus if you get the team that hits the most home runs today. So you need to reply before lock. You have to retweet this tweet and follow the Awesemo_com and Awesemo MLB Twitter account. But you can find all of this in the pinned tweet on our Twitter account. If you guess the team that hits the most home runs tonight, you get a free month. If there's a tie, we'll pick between 3 random winners.
Who do you think it's going to be?
Who do I think is the team that hits the most home runs?
Yeah.
I would bet on the Brewers, but I mean, the amount of teams that I have projected between like 1.4 and 1.6 home runs today is like 15. So I would bet on the Brewers. I would say that the Rockies, Astros, Red Sox, Angels, all pretty close, but the Brewers would be my pick.
Okay.
And link just got dropped in the chat. If you want to check that pinned tweet out, go grab it out of YouTube chat. Ready to keep it moving?
Let's make it work.
Oh my God, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. We're still on 7 o'clock games.
There's a lot of them, dude.
There are. This is the last one of them, thank God.
We're halfway through.
Braves and Phillies. 4.9 run implied. I don't know if this is true. This did not have a line when I started. It does now. I had it at 9.5. Nailed the total. Did I nail the side? I had the Braves as a very, very slight favorite over the Phils. Close enough that I'm not even changing it. Perfect. Sometimes when you're smart, you're smart. 4.9 for the Braves, 4.6 for the Phils, 52% chance to win for Atlanta. Dallas Keuchel going for the Braves. Aaron Nola going for the Phillies. No ownership across the board for Keuchel, nor should it. Talk to me about this one, okay? No ownership across the board for Aaron Nola.
Yeah, well,
I think that's a mistake
A mistake.
on FanDuel, and I think the other two are pretty much fine.
A mistake, yes, but expecting low ownership is also pretty sensible here.
Yeah.
I will say that Nola's last 2 starts have been brilliant. Really, really 7 one-hit innings, 10 Ks, 8 innings, 1 earned, 10 Ks. Granted, it's against Miami and the Mets. This is a more difficult matchup, but Nola is gonna face how many righties in this lineup? I mean, he's gonna see a good amount of righties, right? Um, and while his power numbers against them this year have been a little bit concerning, excuse me, he's also striking them out at 24%, which is good enough. But that's the crazy thing. He's striking lefties out at 30%. It's kind of unusual to see that. Uh, the power numbers, sorry, by the way, more strikeouts versus lefties than righties, which is surprising. Less power to righties, a 3.67 xFIP, 3.84 xFIP against lefties. So if you're just looking at that alone, Nola is in a he's a very good pitcher all in all. The swinging strike rate is 9.5%. I mention this a lot because it's important, and I think people get confused sometimes. It's actually the 7th lowest on this 30-team slate. But this is how many called strikes he gets, Josh, and this is how well he moves his pitches around the strike zone and fools batter, because this is insane. He has the second highest called plus swinging strike rate on this entire slate behind Charlie Morton, who has a 13.4% swinging strike rate, and he has the highest called strike rate in the league. No one has as many called strikeouts in the league as Aaron Nola. That can't go overlooked. There are some pitchers, it's an exception to the rule, that do an excellent, excellent job of placing their pitches and getting called strikes no matter who's behind the plate. And that is something Aaron Nola is capable of doing, which the reason I say that is because you have an Atlanta team that isn't big on swings and misses. But with somebody like Nola, sometimes you can backdoor in those 9 strikeout games just because of your pitch placement.
Here's the question for you then for Nola. You ready?
Shoot.
Aaron Nola is $9,200 on FanDuel. Zach Wheeler is $9,100.
I'm Nola there 100 times out of 100, honestly.
Wheeler at 10%, Nola 1.
What?
No, Nola is not owned on FanDuel. Wheeler at 10% right now.
I have a ton of respect for Atlanta.
Same.
For the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, it's not as if this is some sort of good spot for Aaron Nola.
No. I just think that the Yankees are even more potent and dangerous. And Nola, I expect Nola's numbers to only improve against righties too. So, he would be the guy for me.
Yeah, the problem is, much like Wheeler, I think these guys are sort of trapped in between Paxton and Boyd.
It's no man's land.
Yeah.
It really is.
But yeah, just right off the bat, while I do like Wheeler, if Aaron Nola isn't owned, I just want to have Aaron Nola.
Yeah, 0.2% on DraftKings too. And I know
he's expensive on DK.
Of course. Here's the thing though. We just talked Paxton. There is volatility there, man. You're not rostering Paxton and just locking in 20 plus fantasy points ever, really. So getting away from him with some other similarly priced options with zero ownership, to me is actually pretty appealing, especially when Paxton's ownership is clearly one of the highest on the slate.
Yeah. We're in agreement, no Keuchel, right?
No.
Bats in this game are not getting any ownership, both in like the high teens to 20s in terms of rank for aggregate ownership. I don't even really have any bats that stand out as guys that I really want. Rhys Hoskins for 4,400 as a first base option against the lefty Keuchel seems fine. Freddie Freeman 5,200 on DK to face the righty Nola. I would rather just have some Nola and mostly stay away from this game.
Yeah, it's surprising to me that Atlanta is actually a slight favorite here with Keuchel on the mound and Nola on the mound. We haven't seen much.
Are they different?
What?
Are they different?
Or what different?
Dallas Keuchel and Aaron Nola.
Then why do you have no interest in Keuchel if you have interest in Nola?
Because
If
one of them is a strikeout pitcher and the other one isn't. There's a difference between
the
being good at DFS and being good for a team.
Oh, they're certainly different. Yeah, Nola got off to a rough start, but, to yeah, they're different. Plus one of them's a lefty. But, Keuchel struck out less than 10% of the batters he's faced so far. He's faced 51 batters. He has really no strikeout stuff whatsoever. There was a time where he did
Yeah.
because he could get batters to chase that slider out of the zone, and then they all uniformly said, "Wait, he doesn't throw it in the zone, just stop swinging." And seriously, go back and look at his numbers from like 2013 or 14. Pretty significant drop. It all has to do with just the outside swing rate uh, plummeting. I actually have some interest in if you wanted to look towards, a Scott Kingery or something like that, but only where you're getting them at a decent enough price because it's such a deep slate. Atlanta plays much better to the lefty than it does to the righty, but Kingery's just been really fantastic, and I
Yes.
and I don't think it's a fluke. Like this guy was one of their top prospects. They gave him a 5-year contract before he ever stepped foot on a major league baseball field. So uh, I buy into Kingery stuff, and he's very good.
That's probably it for this game, right? It's just not that kind of spot.
Now Freddie Freeman is interesting to me too. Much like Pete Alonso, just great players with the platoon advantage at low ownership.
Yeah. Expensive. You're paying a lot for that first base spot today.
Yep, but that power is 100% there.
We're about to talk a lot of offense. You ready?
Let's do it.
Hit the like button, by the way. Perfect time for you guys to do that since we're finally finished the 7 o'clock games at an hour and 17 minutes in.
How
Hit
are
the
you
like.
doing with timestamps?
Oh, good. I got them all so far.
Beautiful.
Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Promo code MLB Strategy. All the good stuff. Mike Minor going for the Rangers. 5.5 run implied total. Jose Suarez going for the Angels. 5.9 run implied total. 54% chance to win for the Angels. Minor going unowned. He's overpriced on all three sites. He should not be owned today. Suarez should not be owned today. The offense, though, in this game, Rangers are 10th on FanDuel, tied for 9th on DK. Angels are 3rd on FanDuel, 8th on DK. Is this game going overlooked?
Well, yesterday the Angels' projected ownership was massive,
I know.
and I just wasn't there. Uh, who knows if it would have played out yesterday? We'll see today. Uh, I what is it about? Why is it that like we refuse to respect Mike Minor?
I have no idea.
Dude is fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Like he has been really, really, really good. Just outrageously good. And he's doing this. So I wrote the deep dive when he started last time, and I said Mike Minor uh, as a pivot off of it was the Corbin against Miami day. So Corbin had a great game. It wouldn't have made a huge difference. Actually, no. I think Minor actually finished as the top pitching option there. No one wanted to pay for Minor. Now, granted, that was against Detroit, Josh, not against the Angels. But I'm making a point here that more than half of his starts have come in extremely hitter-friendly venues. His matchups have been brutal. A lot of his matchups have been terrible. Recently, he's gotten some better ones, but it was like 10 of 17 prior to last game had been bottom 10 strikeout teams in the league versus lefties. Just so giving you an idea of he hasn't just been getting cupcake matchups inside Oracle Park. He's pitching in Globe Life in Coors Southwest, facing a lot of low K teams, and still doing what he's been doing. I get it. The Angels are really, really, really good offensively. They can load up from the right side of the plate and make an opposing pitcher pay. That is unquestionable. But Mike Minor has also been really good. Hell, he's faced them twice this year. He's gone 15 innings with 1 run allowed and 12 Ks. All I'm saying is stop selling Mike Minor short.
Oh, absolutely. He's people look at him weird because he's in Texas, but I mean, what's the weather supposed to be today? Probably hot. Yeah,
And
90.
because he had a couple seasons there where he just wasn't very good.
Right.
Like, people are refusing to believe that a transformation is possible.
Yeah, there's just no way for me to pay 48, 10-8, or 10-5 for him.
No, I'm not. I have no interest in playing Mike
Yeah.
Minor. Last week, sure. Against Detroit, no question. What I'm saying, Matt Boyd was the other one. But what I'm saying is that doesn't mean that I'm
I gotta pause everybody. I gotta pause you quick. YouTube chat. It is not canning. It may change to canning. It's not canning on
No, it's not.
MLB.com. It's not It's
MLB
not
has
canning on any of the betting sites. Just because
Actually-
DraftKings has it doesn't mean that Griffin Canning is the starter.
DraftKings did this twice last week where they erroneously had Griffin Canning in there twice last week. One was when it was Felix Pena and another was Jose Suarez. So
Yeah.
it's not Canning.
I'm not saying that it can't change to that, but it is not canning on any of the places that matter.
MLB.com has Jose Suarez.
Yes. So do all of the betting sites.
Yeah, no, they've done this several times.
A lot of talk about it in chat, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No. I mean, I'm glad you did. Josh, all I'm saying is especially when you take a look at some of the bats, Angel bats have actually gone up from yesterday. Ohtani 53, Trout 56. I mean, I'm never going to convince you not to play Trout. No,
his price doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that's an exception to the rule. Could they go out there and beat up Mike Minor? Of course. I'm just saying the odds are against them based on how he's pitched this season. If you had to guess, and then I'll shut up. How many times has Mike Minor allowed more than 3 earned runs in a start this season?
2.
Pitching at Globe Life, of course.
2.
So
I feel like you're leading me to something where it's like a really low number.
Yeah, 2 times.
Oh, gets it.
My man, look at that. How many times?
Okay.
How many times over his last 12 starts? 0. So just the consistency has been insane. And it doesn't mean that he can't get blown up today. I get it. But I just have a lot of respect for the guy and what he's done. And even if his xFIP is 4.32, eventually there comes a point where pitchers continue to outpitch their xFIP and continue to outpitch these numbers. You might have to reapproach or approach how you see them differently.
So what are your thoughts as to why the Angels have the highest run total outside of Coors today?
That Mike Minor still gets no respect. Dude, look at run totals against Mike Minor all the time at Globe Life.
Yeah.
They're always, I mean, the Angels are a good team. By the way, don't tell me the Angels' implied totals haven't been inflated all season long either. Deservedly so or not, we were seeing them at Angel Stadium against like pretty decent pitchers at 6 runs. So it doesn't shock me that this is where they are. It's 90 degrees at Globe Life. Listen, I'm not even saying they can't put up big numbers. I think with how Mike Minor has pitched, the Angels having the second highest run total, I don't think it's right.
Angels are my 4th highest stack. I would have liked to get to more. It's going to be a tight squeeze, but that Trout, Upton, Pujols trio is helpful. No Ohtani in the lineup is not helpful. It's a really terrible strikeout matchup for Mike Minor. Not that anybody's trying to roster Mike Minor today or anything, but
no interest in Minor. Why are you assuming Ohtani's out of the lineup?
He's not in my projected lineup. Lefty makes some sense.
Maybe, but that's because he was out of it yesterday. Meaning he was out of it yesterday and didn't start. I just assumed he was getting a day off.
Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? Could certainly be wrong.
Certainly like Trout. Really like Upton from power potential in this spot. I really like Pujols. Less so for 4K on DK, but 2,900 on FanDuel. I don't mind that if it's part of a Angel stack. I like the Angels here. That's too big of a run total for me to ignore.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest ignoring it, but just approaching it with caution. That's all.
I'm surprised. Like, they're not getting any ownership. Not on DK. They're 8th.
Are they that low? After
Trout is at 13%, Upton at 9%. Next highest guy is Simmons at 4%.
I just like them a lot more as one-offs than I do as a stack.
That's fair.
I like Texas a lot though, and usually I have no interest in Ranger bats against lefties, at least not as a stack. But man, Jose Suarez has been brutally bad. Um, I don't see him escaping this one with a pulse, and I think it's probably going to get pretty ugly for him pretty quick. So here's the thing. What has he shown us in any start to suggest that he can go into Globe Life Park? Like Minor at least has proven, at that park, he can do a very good job of limiting runs. Suarez, on the other hand, has already allowed on the season, he's already allowed 6 home runs in only 90 batters faced, 2.5 home runs per 9. Granted, he hasn't faced that many hitters, but a few things are very concerning about him, and I'll tell you what. His ground ball rate is through the floor. It's not his fly ball rate is like 55%. That's not going to sit well at Arlington. It really isn't. I don't see him being able to put guys away here. And if they start, putting the bat on the ball at this park in this weather, it's going to get ugly for him pretty quickly.
Yeah, it is. I like the Rangers more in the one-off sense, just because I don't think they're really good to stack 4 outfielders in the first 5 batters. It just makes the machinations of getting them a little bit more difficult. Jeff Mathis, the flat 2K on DraftKings. Kudos to him for being garbage. I'm going to get to a bunch of individual bats for the Rangers, but they will not be a stack priority for me because I just don't think they come together well.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I could be surprised. I wouldn't mind getting there with all of these guys. There's certainly some power potential. I'm just not sure that they'll be loved by optimizers.
Yeah, and they're a tough team to stack against lefties. They are. But like if Asdrubal Cabrera is back in the lineup, he's unbelievably inexpensive.
Yeah.
There are a few ways that you can at least make it work. Another one too, Logan Forsythe is very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And for his career, this guy has hit lefties very well. So it's not crazy to think that you could get, a decent stack in there, but you're gonna have to end up with a lefty or two, and just hope. Gallo has plenty of lefty power, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Forsythe is the flat minimum on Yahoo, by the way.
Is he?
Yep, $7.
So you can definitely stack against them, but I agree with you that it's tougher against the lefty. I don't have any faith in Jose Suarez is the thing.
Nor should you. Ready to talk some more runs?
Let's go.
Rockies and Astros, 6.6 run implied total for Colorado, 6.4 for the Stros, 52% chance to win for Colorado. Herman Marquez going for the Rockies. Let's go with Jose Urquidy.
Is that
for the Astros?
Is it confirmed yet?
I don't know. That's what I have on. It's TBD on MLB.com. That's what's listed as the starter, or that's who's listed as the starter on the betting sites. Now let's find out if I said Urquidy correctly.
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Suck it. They do not have a pronunciation on Baseball Reference right now, but
Houston Chronicle, Astros to promote Jose Urquidy. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Urquidy for first major league start on Tuesday. So there you go.
Welcome to the Bigs, buddy. Have fun in Colorado.
I know, what a dreadful spot to get called up.
Enjoy these 6 left-handed power hitters. Well, 6 left-handed hitters. I can't call Tony Wolters a power hitter.
This guy, Fangraphs doesn't even have pitch grades on him?
No.
They don't. He is, let's see here.
He doesn't look like what I would expect him to look like either. I don't mean that positively or negatively. He looks like a guy that would be a catcher, not a pitcher. I mean that in the baseball sense.
I went on to, Houston top 21 prospects because, on Fangraphs they'll have if there's any article that even references the name, it would be there, but his name isn't even his name isn't even listed anywhere on here.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, ultimately, here's the thing. We're not playing him. I think that he may be viable on Yahoo at the flat minimum if you want to get really weird.
No, he's not.
But we're not looking for pitching here. I would love to play Herman Marquez. Probably will have a little bit, but again, not great. I like to get Marquez in Coors games where they're not facing incredible offenses just to start.
Yeah.
So it should come as no surprise that both of these teams are highly ranked and highly owned. Astros, the most ownership on DraftKings. Rockies are 5th. Rockies are number 1 on FanDuel. Astros just 11th. So raise your hand if you think that $4,200 is not enough for Jose Altuve in Colorado.
It's crazy, right?
He's stuck, man. He's stuck. That something is wrong that they cannot raise his price. He's not even getting Coors bumps.
I know. It's wild. By the way, Urquidy, whatever. I'll call him JU. 13.2 Ks per inning this year, 37% strikeouts in 43 AAA innings. So only two walks per 9.
Yeah.
Maybe at minimum salary, you're right. Maybe obviously it's outrageously sketchy.
Yeah, it fails way more often than not.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Whoever just posted that. Appreciate it. He says, kind of important here, at least to me. BD Cook, thanks, dude. Said Houston Chronicle article says his fastball sits 92, 94, can touch 97, plus changeup and a slider that's still developing. Well, that's not a bad arsenal to have it for Coors.
No, not at all.
Obviously, look, I'm not sitting here espousing, all of the beautiful aspects of a guy that I didn't know existed until today. But he like his everything does line up to say like this guy could go out and against a team that doesn't know him, not be terrible.
Look, he needs to survive, 4 innings, 5 innings to pay off a minimum salary on Yahoo?
Yeah.
Keep it out of the cheap seats and you should be fine.
So he's on FanDuel, huh? Or
Yep.
He's on Yahoo?
He's on Yahoo and FanDuel, but not DK, I think.
That's super surprising.
Really rare to get onto FanDuel.
DraftKings has 2,000 guys in their player pool? And
I can give you the actual answer today.
Yeah, I could give it to you as well, but I'm saying it's around 1,900
1,824.
Yeah.
There are 1,270 on FanDuel and 951 on Yahoo.
And they have this guy.
I mean, maybe he has a different name and I didn't catch it yet.
Maybe. Nope. Unless his first name is something other than Jose.
It could be. He probably has like 37 names.
Either way, what for Houston though, do you find yourself heavy on them against Marquez? And I'm not just talking ridiculously underpriced Altuve, but
right.
The rest of this team.
He's $14 on Yahoo.
Altuve?
Yeah, he's also projected for 36% ownership, which he should be. I like the Astros, but I don't like them as the DraftKings chalk. I certainly get why they are there. And I'm going to have Astros. It's impossible to not be on them today here in Coors with this run total. But it's not like a fun spot to grab. I like them more on FanDuel where they're not getting any ownership.
Yordan Alvarez at 5,100 to me seems underpriced compared to like being the same price as Ian Desmond.
It's cheaper than DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah. I prefer the Rockies here, but that should be no surprise.
No.
The Astros just aren't pitching Herman Marquez,
Right. I will say, like, just looking at this guy's stuff, it's not like I'm gonna roster him, but I don't see it as I just based on what his numbers look like, I don't expect him to be a gas can, put it that way.
I agree, but he is in for a world of hurt. Blackman, Dahl, Murphy, McMahon, we'll call it Tapia, whatever. I didn't mention Nolan Arenado just because he happens to hit righty, but man, he is going to have some work to do right out of the gate.
So that's the problem. The amount of lefties in this lineup is
Also, Alvarez is not going to be in the lineup today.
He might be. They played him twice in the Cincinnati series.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, he definitely might not be, but they got him into the lineup two times, I think.
Yeah, get me the Rockies here. I mean, they're the chalk on FanDuel. They're 5th on DK. I'll probably be heavier on them on DraftKings.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't get to a lot of Rockies here.
Yeah.
As good as a guy profiles to be, or at least has been at the minor league level, you're throwing him into the fire. Look, everything I said about him is true. Like I think, like if he were facing even say like the Cardinals today, I would probably have interest in Urquidy or whatever. I think I would, just even in a decent matchup. But this is one of those spots where you're going to get beat up. He doesn't walk guys though. I'm actually just really interested to see this. I'm going to be heavy on Rockies, of course, but I am interested to see what this kid's got.
Same. Ultimately, you need to be here in some form or fashion because there's a ton of offense.
Right.
That's just the spot. But
Exactly.
I don't think I need to get there all that much. If the Astros are going to be the chalk on DraftKings, I don't need to run headfirst into German Marquez.
Yeah, neither do I, man. I'm with you on that.
Like, I get it. The Astros are really good. But there are just as good of spots out there where I don't need to get to 24% Alex Bregman here.
Agreed.
Not that I don't love him. He's fantastic. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. But it's also German Marquez. So get your exposure. If you want a couple shares of German Marquez, I don't think it's crazy. 7,100 on FanDuel. There's upside to that number in a way, but it's a terrible strikeout matchup against a really good offense. More often than not, I do like these course pitchers. Today is a very, very tough sell.
Yep.
Keeping it moving. From talent to less talent. White Sox and Tigers, 4.3 run implied total for the White Sox, 4.7 for the Tigers, 53% chance to win for Detroit. Ronaldo Lopez going for the White Sox, Matt Boyd going for the Tigers. Lopez, 6% ownership on Yahoo, 9 on FanDuel, 27 on DraftKings. He is the second most owned pitcher on the slate. Boyd, 27% on Yahoo, 10% on FanDuel, 17 on DraftKings. Let's start with the White Sox starter. Ronaldo Lopez at 27% ownership on DK. Laffy, how do you feel?
It actually makes plenty of sense.
Yep.
He has a 12.5% swinging strike rate against righties. He has a strikeout rate 24.6% against righties. And the reason I'm mentioning that and not overall is because really the only thing that matters when you're facing Detroit is your K rate against righties, 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 14th highest, no, sorry, 13th highest K rate against lefties or righties. It's the same as Patrick Corbin, Mike Minor, and higher than Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler and Ross Stripling and Trent Thornton. Pretty good, pretty decent company there. He's only walking righties at 5%. He gives up a ton of power. So that's the thing. 2.2 home runs per 9 to same-handed hitters. Only Dallas Keuchel and Suarez, who have a much lower sample, much less innings, are allowing more than that this season. So it's always risky. But when you're getting him at a price like this, you're saying, all right, can Lopez go out there and give me, it's crazy, but can he give me 9 or 10 strikeouts against this team? He can do that. Like he legitimately can do that. So yes, Lopez is very much in play today.
God, he should just Chalk Lopez just feels rough.
It feels horrible. There's no question, but there are a million different ways to get different on a slate with 15 games. And if you want to do it with Lopez, I totally get it.
You
I'm
know,
changing my tune from a little bit earlier in the show just because if Detroit's going to run out 7 or 8 lefties again or 7 or 8 righties again, there is a legitimately high ceiling on Lopez today.
there really is. I think, or I hope that I can flip flop Lopez and Musgrove for ownership, but those are the spots I think to pay down on.
Right. And I guess the problem is both of them are kind of equally volatile. And I think Musgrove's a better pitcher, but from a fantasy standpoint, not really. And while he's going to face a lot of righties too, there's just no comparison between the quality of talent on in the Cubs and on the Tigers.
Sorry, I was typing into YouTube chat, but it didn't go through for some reason.
You're good. No, I'm saying there's no comparison to the quality of talent between the Cubs and the Tigers.
No, not at all. Not at all. Matt Boyd. 10-1 on DK. 10K on FanDuel. I like him here. It's a great spot. White Sox stink. He's going to get a lot of righties. I didn't know John Jay was on the White Sox. Is that new?
Didn't know he was still in the league.
Neither did I. No power there. No talent there either. This is a really good spot for Matt Boyd, but his ownership is creeping up a little bit higher than I'd really like it to.
Yeah. If you're playing Matt Boyd, I wouldn't blame you. Swing and strike rate 17% against lefties, 14.6 against righties. His K rate on the season among all pitchers on today's slate, Matt Boyd is ranking, my guess is it's got to be second or third or first. Second, well, actually, I won't even include Zach Gallen. It's number one, 30.8% strikeouts here.
Yeah.
11.4 per 9, 4.8% walks, which is also outside of Kyle Hendricks, the lowest on this slate. He's just a very good pitcher. And against the White Sox, there's a lot of upside there as well. I think both pitchers in this game have plenty of appeal. More appeal for Lopez just because of how cheap he is. But yeah.
This is just another one where I clearly like Matt Boyd, and it's really a great spot. But he's at 17% ownership, and $600 more gets me Aaron Nola at 1.
I think it's a lot easier to get away from Boyd than it is Lopez because the comparable talent around Boyd is pretty plentiful today.
Oh, there's 5 guys above him and below him that are all just like, okay, that's close enough if they're unowned.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like those pivots in like a bigger field single entry, or like if you're trying to find a very specific move from Boyd to X. I get why Boyd's getting that ownership, but there are just so many guys around him that are going completely overlooked.
Right. And with Lopez, you have Musgrove, but that's like a 1-to-1 move. There's not really anybody else around there that you're targeting.
So I expect to have some Boyd. I will certainly have some Lopez, but I think the more likely scenario is that I'm just heavier on other guys around their price tags.
I'm with you.
And although, I don't really want to have batters in this game.
I think I'll probably be heavier on Lopez than you just because, like, yes, I totally understand the idea of him being chalk and it's scary. My initial reaction was, oh God. But 25% K rate against righties, you're going to face 7 or so, maybe more of them. And you're $5,600. You know, you have your K rate is in the top half of this slate. It's 13th, or against righties again. And you are the second cheapest pitcher on the entire slate. I think that says all it needs to.
I do not disagree. Add this timestamp back in. Chicago White Sox versus Detroit. Perfect. I have no interest in hitting here. I mean, I guess Tigers are viable on DraftKings if Lopez maintains this ownership.
I do have interest in Tigers for one simple reason. 2.2 home runs per 9 to righties is a really, really high number.
Yeah.
and it's not exactly like he's settled down on any of that. 267 ISO, Josh. Like I said, the strikeouts are there, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Lopez is going to give up, maybe not today, but he gives up an incredible amount of power. He's already allowed 13 home runs in 9 home starts. And look, 3 home run game, 2 home run, 2 home run. He allows at least a home run every single start.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was quick to dismiss. The Tigers are going to be one of my most owned stacks today.
There you go. It makes sense. And another thing, even if they're not, this is actually one of those days where one-offing the Tigers like Castellanos makes sense.
Yep. I'm going to get Jones, Castellanos, Cabrera. Kristen Stewart is the highest owned guy, 10% ownership, 3,400. Lefty-righty matchup here. Big time power. I'll get all the way down to my boy Candelario. These guys are really cheap. They'll fit with anything. And you're getting a lot of leverage on the field if Lopez maintains in the high 20s.
And Lopez coughs up a ton of power to lefties too. But I was specifically talking righties because there's going to be a ton of them.
Well, the only other legitimate lefty in this lineup is Harold Castro potentially, and he hits for power like we hit for power. So
right, there's Goodrum, but
I don't have him in the lineup right now.
Oh, okay.
Let's keep it moving. Bunch of games ago, we're going deep in this one. Royals and Indians, 3.8 run implied total for the Royals, 5 for the Indians.
It feels like we've moved quicker on this slate. I don't understand what's happening.
We went on a pretty lengthy diatribe about current day hip hop that probably slowed us down.
I think we're just spending more time on the actual games today than usual.
Maybe.
Quality content.
Jacob Junis going for the Royals, Trevor Bauer for the Indians. Junis unowned as he should be. Indians, or Bauer rather, 8% on Yahoo, 1% on FanDuel, 6% on DraftKings, and a lot of percent for Josh. I want to get Trevor Bauer here. I do not normally believe in this sort of stuff. Let me be clear here. Not something that I factor into anything, but I'm going to use this as a narrative to justify my my impending exposure to Trevor Bauer.
Let's hear it.
Trevor Bauer was very close to Tyler Skaggs.
I knew a narrative. I knew somewhere someone throughout the day would bring up a Skaggs narrative.
Yeah, so it is me here for Bauer. Look, I'm only going to get him because of stats. It's not like I'm bumping up Trevor Bauer or anything.
Only going to get him because of Skaggs. That's great.
Okay. No. Stats.
I know. I heard you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Damn it. So here's the thing. Of all the pitchers in baseball, would you be surprised that Trevor Bauer is the one that would concentrate more for a spot like this?
No, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's throwing him into the second deck.
Also true. Also true.
Like, or will his emotions get the best of him, or will he be dialed in? I feel like there will be no gray area today, Josh. It will be one or the other.
Don't disagree. I'm betting on the other side.
And I will take that chance any day of the week because Bauer could, like, this is the difference between him and like Kyle Hendricks that we talked about earlier. Bauer could still be all over the place and get 10 strikeouts and give up 4 or 5 runs where it's like he doesn't destroy your night. But forget about the narrative for a second. And I know, like you said, you're driven by stats here. All should.
I will make no adjustment for this whatsoever. It's just that's what I'm boosting myself up on when it happens.
Yeah. So he's just really good. And I had said earlier in the year that I could see him. This was after his first start on Sirius, that I could see him winning the Cy Young and that he was the best starter on the Indians. Well, fortunately, Kluber got hurt. Carrasco's been bad, and Clevenger was hurt. So far, I'm not wrong. But all in all, he hit a really rough patch with those strikeouts. It was kind of concerning. But he should face. Do you have? I have 6 righties in the lineup today. What do you have?
7. Nope, 6.
Okay.
6, and then Lopez, Gordon, Duda.
Duda, right? So his K rate versus lefties this year is pretty underwhelming. It's 22%, which is, kind of sucks depending on the matchup. But he's at 30% against righties, and he's going to get 6 of them today. 14% swinging strikes, an X ISO of 123, really solid. X-Wob at 271. These are just really, really good numbers across the board. Yeah. I'm with you. I love Bauer. I'll keep it very short and simple too. I think Cleveland bats are perfectly fine to go to here. Jake Junis has always been someone that's prone to coughing up home runs to lefties and righties alike. Uh, Depending on what price you're paying for Cleveland bats, I think comes into play here. And they have seen their like Mercado is finally, back from that acid trip that DraftKings was on.
Yeah.
Ramirez is dirt cheap. Sure, he's been garbage, but Lindor's only $4,600. These prices to me are pretty bad. And for our sake, they are good. Aggregate stack ownership here is, I'm assuming, going to be pretty high, Josh.
They are 6th on DraftKings, 12th on FanDuel.
Not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. Nobody's in double digits besides Lindor.
That to me is surprising. I like Cleveland here.
I like them less than you do. I don't dislike them. They're easy to stack, so they're kind of the opposite of who the hell were we just talking about?
Rangers?
Is that who it was? 4 outfielders in the top 5?
Correct.
Okay. Because you go short, outfield, first, second, third. Those pieces fit together really easy.
Yeah.
So I do think that they are, and I think that's part of the reason we see their ownership go a little higher on DK, because they fit so well with basically every team. Now, that's not to say that I don't like them. To me, they rank 13th. When you get into that sort of area, like the difference between 8 and 15 is marginal. They're all very similar.
One thing I really like when picking on Junis is mini stacks, because he's the type of guy that'll give up 2-3 home runs and only 4 runs
Yeah.
in a game. Like if you look at his game,
he's good until he's bad.
Exactly. This is relevant because it's not just this year; it's been Junis for his career. Over his last 12 starts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's allowed multiple home runs in 6 of them.
Yeah. That'll happen. That'll happen.
Like if you had a Lindor, Ramirez, Lindor, Santana, even 2 or 3 of them doesn't need to be a full stack. They're at those prices. I just think they're very valuable.
I'm a fan of them in that I know that I will have some. I just know that based on other starting pitching ownership, they might fall by the wayside, but I'll be relatively neutral. If they're at 5% ownership, I could see myself having 5% across the board of everybody.
Sure.
And then Lindor as a one-off doesn't count. He's just really good.
And you've got another implied total above 5 here for the Indians.
Right. Yeah, it's not the worst. It's a tough ballpark. Kansas City is a bit of a pitcher's park. That's also very helpful for me for Bauer. The Royals don't have a lot of power, so that even makes it better for him. So
doesn't play terrible to extra base hits though, just home runs.
Correct. And that's really if I'm going to get BABIP to death, that's cool. Nothing I could really do there.
Yeah.
If you're rostering starting pitching, you're scared of home runs.
All in all, the pricing on Cleveland, given the power issues for Junis, does stand out to me.
I do not disagree whatsoever. Bobby Bradley, flat minimum on Yahoo today.
Bobby Bradley.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Did I do this? Oh, I did. Yay. Yay me. Kansas City versus Cleveland. You ready to keep it moving? We've got 4 to go.
Now, I'm serious here when I say we're going to get through some of these.
Business is about to pick up. That's for sure. Athletics taking on the Twins. 4.5 run implied total for the A's. 4.9 for the Twins. 54% chance to win from Minnesota. Daniel Mengden going for Oakland. Jake Odorizzi going for the Twins. Neither guy going into anyone's lineups.
I have zero interest here. I will not even speak further.
I completely agree. If I see lineups that end up with Odorizzi in them, it's not as if I'm freaking out, but I don't expect that to happen either.
No. Actually, I would probably freak out. To me, it's crazy on this slate. Paxton, Price, Boyd, Nola. We talked about being low. I mean, dude, Morton, Bauer.
It's a park play for me.
Okay.
If anything.
Oakland doesn't strike out, man.
Not really.
Funny. But they have not struck out often at all this season.
Both teams going essentially unowned. In aggregate ownership, they all rank in the 20s or worse. I think both teams should probably be owned a little bit more than they are. They both have a ton of raw power in the lineup, but they don't strike me as spots where I'm going to be full stacking. But grabbing pieces of this game on either side, whether that's Matt Olson completely unowned, Nelson Cruz completely unowned, Max Kepler unowned. I like all of these guys. I think they should have a little bit more love because there's just raw power here, but this is not a volume game.
No, it's very tough for me to get excited about anything here. I'm not a believer in Daniel Mengden. No, but I also don't think that. First of all, Minnesota's got a 4.9 run in total. On most slates, that'd be pretty solid. On this slate, it's very average.
Yeah.
The park does not favor them. And another thing that has to come into play here is, what are you paying for them? Well, it seems like I agree on Kepler, by the way. There are a few of them that you're going to get at nice prices. Like Polanco is well underpriced. Some of the CJ Cron is underpriced, but I like him way more against lefties. I think we all do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hate Minnesota. I have no interest in Oakland though. Like you said, you want to go to Olsen, fine. But the problem with that is that you're taking up a spot at first base, which is just loaded with good spots today.
Yeah, there's a never-ending stream of potential first basemen today, so
right.
It does make it tough. Chris Davis, 3,500 today. Like, I don't mind getting to any bit of these guys, but it's not a fun spot.
How he has fallen, man.
Yeah, for real. Don't worry, he'll still hit 247 by the time the season's done.
But you remember how he got off to like that start? What, do you have 10 home runs in his first 20 games or something?
He was mashing the ball in April.
Crazy.
Keeping it moving. Dodgers and Diamondbacks. Dodgers 5.4 run implied total. D-backs 3.6. It's a 69% chance to win for the Dodgers.
I could keep this game really simple for you. I'd love to get your analysis.
I doubt it.
I'm not touching pitching. I have ample interest in Dodgers here.
Okay.
Now, ownership, I'm assuming, is high.
You would be assuming incorrectly. The Dodgers are the current number 11 stack on DraftKings.
That's outrageous. Homer-prone right-hander and Taylor Clark.
Yeah.
One of the best offenses in the entire league. The big thing too. Okay, yes, Bellinger is going to cost you a decent amount of money, but
don't forget also a park that plays up to left-handed power.
Yes, it does. A 5.6 implied total. It's the fourth highest on this slate. Jock Peterson is. I'm just going to use DraftKings pricing. You can round out the other sites if you want. 4,500. Max Muncy is 51, but I think that's perfectly reasonable in this spot.
Yeah.
Turner 4,300. I mean, lefties I prefer them, but Verdugo 44. This is a really good spot. If they're going to be middle of the road owned here, you can't tell me this isn't really a favorable spot for the Dodgers, who have crushed righties all season long and put the ball in play.
I don't disagree. I expect, because of some of their pricing, that the Dodgers are going to look really good in the top stack tool, and they would be similar to the answer of the Pirates last night of This is the anti-optimizer play.
Yes. But I don't know why they're anti-optimizer.
A lot of outfield at the top. Those price tags of Bellinger and Muncy become mildly problematic because of the pitching pricing today.
Yeah, I guess so, but
I'm with you, man. I love this spot for the Dodgers, especially getting pieces of it. Well, not that I don't like 5-man stacks here, but I mean, I will happily pay up for a Muncy, Bellinger, Jock 3-man stack for a ton of money.
Yep. Well, you get Turner in there, balance it out a little bit too. I mean, there's ways to make it work.
Yeah, I want to pay close attention to how this lineup comes up because I really like the Dodgers here. If they're going to be as low owned as they are on DK. On FanDuel, they're 6th. So we'll see where that shakes out.
Yeah, I really like them though, for sure. But that's all we have on this one. I
There's
don't know.
nothing for the Diamondbacks. There's nothing for
Yeah,
Stripling. There's nothing for Clark.
right.
If and when Ross Stripling ends up stretched out again, then Stripling is in play.
Of
But
course.
it's not now.
Nope.
Alrighty, 2 to go. Padres and Giants. Padres 4.7 run implied total. Giants 3.8. Giants woke up last night. Matt Strahm going for San Diego. Tyler Beatty going for the Giants. Strahm getting some love. 13% ownership on Yahoo, 8 on FanDuel, 23 on DK where he's 6,900. Very little ownership going to Tyler Beatty right now. Do you have interest in Strahm?
I do.
Okay.
He's cheap. I think Lopez and Musgrove make that range a little bit easier. But I'm also not backing away from it either. Look, 13th highest K rate versus lefties on their active roster, which is, of course, not great, but it's also not bad at all. What makes it interesting is they have a 79 WRC plus against lefties. 79. It's better. It's worse than all but the Rangers. And then when you look at their power, I mean, forget about yesterday's one game. The Giants have a 142 ISO that also ranks 29th in the league. Take it one step further, their weighted on base average is 290. It is dead last in baseball. They really have bad numbers against lefties. Guys like Posey and Longoria and Austin, to a large extent this year, have just been terrible with the platoon advantage. It's not Oracle Park. It's a pretty neutral park.
Yeah.
But Strahm is also not priced like he's at a neutral park against a terrible team. He's priced like he's facing a good team at a hitter's park.
Yeah, 6,900 is nice. I feel like 23% might be a little high, but it's not like I'm going to be trying to target the Giants. I don't think what they did yesterday is going to be all that common.
No, and I think mixing Strahm and Lopez and Musgrove makes plenty of sense.
Yeah, right now we have 60% ownership of 200 going to those 3 guys. We'll see where that ends up when we get closer to lock. For hitting, I don't want any part of this game, although the Giants are incredibly affordable on Yahoo. The most expensive guy on the team is Kevin Pillar at $16. Brandon Belt is $12. Everyone else is either $7 or $8.
Yeah. Do you have any interest in Beatty?
None. Absolutely zero.
All right. I actually do.
Really?
Well, I mean, okay. Let me reason this one out.
Would you rather have Beatty or Musgrove?
He's striking righties out at 25% this year. He has a 25% K rate against righties. He walks right-handed hitters a lot, so there's always like an ample amount of risk here. But it's a team that has, first of all, the Padres have 8% walk rate, very much league average against righties. But they also lead the entire league in strikeout rate versus righties. So while it's definitely risky, I don't like it. I don't think Beatty is all that much more volatile than a Musgrove or a Strahm or a who else was it? Ronaldo Lopez. It's just not totally crazy to me. If I was willing to roster Pomerantz for the strikeouts, if I was willing to roster, Jeff Samardzija, who had a really great game yesterday, the Padres are one of those very hit or miss lineups, and 25% strikeouts versus righties at 6,200 is at least going to get my attention.
Yeah, I have him behind basically everybody. Behind Musgrove, behind Lopez, behind Strahm, and at that point in time, I'm just out of dudes.
That's fair. It's more about just mixing them for me because ownership's going to be so wild. Like when the theme we've had here has been, a lot of ownership going to these lower priced guys. Meanwhile, Tyler Beatty's going to be at 6%. So I don't think it's insane.
And so we bring it to the final game. Mariners and Cardinals. 4-run implied total for the Mariners. 4.6 for the Cards. 56% chance to win for St. Louis. Wade LeBlanc going to be the long man for the Mariners. Jack Flaherty going for the Cards. 15% ownership for Flaherty on Yahoo. 13 on FanDuel. 26 on DraftKings. Flaherty quite popular here, and honestly, he should be. He is a man with no peers around him in a salary here. I love Flaherty today. Completely agree with the ownership. I'll probably have more. How do you feel?
Yeah, I like him. He's good. He's been shitty this year to a large extent.
Yeah.
He's significantly better against righties. And I'm guessing, especially since all the movement in Seattle, that you're probably going to get 6 lefties in the lineup, maybe 5. So I understand it, like you said, but I'm the furthest thing from opposed to just paying all the way down to the bottom here too. Um, Flaherty's a good pitcher. I take nothing away from him. 21% strikeouts versus lefties, 31 against righties. Look, the lefties in this lineup are not going to be very good.
Mm-mm.
But like Narvaez as a catcher, not terrible. Seager, not awful. Vogelbach power. Malik Smith can bother you on the base pass. JP Crawford's not good. I just think, I mean, I know there will be a lot of lefties. That would be my only knock on Flaherty today. Good park, of course, but that would be my only knock because he's going to face 5 or 6 lefties.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of those good hitters that they used to have are no longer on the team. Bye-bye, Edwin Encarnacion, Jay Bruce. Who am I missing? Somebody else, too.
Well, Haniger's still hurt.
Yeah, Haniger's still gone. So I'm going to take my chances on Flaherty. I like it here.
I wouldn't blame you whatsoever.
I have very little interest in Mariners bats, although getting to like Vogelbach unowned feels like the right idea.
I like that. Home runs have been a massive issue for Jack Flaherty this year. And if I told you that the only other player on this entire slate that's allowed as many home runs to lefties as Flaherty was Ronaldo Lopez, might make you think.
For real. Give me a little Vogelbach. Give me a little Kyle Seager. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you don't need to go crazy here.
No. Dude, the Cardinals on Yahoo are probably the most efficient stack you can play. Most expensive player in the entire Cardinals lineup, Paul DeJong at $11.
What? What's Ozuna and Goldschmidt?
Ozuna not in the lineup. Goldschmidt 9.
Dear God. Oh, Ozuna's on the IL, isn't he? Yeah. Goldschmidt's 9.
Yeah.
And minimum salary 7.
Jose Martinez's minimum salary.
That's outrageous. And they're going to face a lefty in long relief.
Mm-hmm.
Who has been pretty good. But still.
Yeah. So I like the Cardinals quite a bit on Yahoo. I don't have a problem with them on FanDuel or DraftKings. They exist. I'll have them. They'll fit in places. That Martinez, DeJong, Goldschmidt section. I mean, Goldschmidt's 3,600 on DraftKings, so there's that.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with Goldschmidt against a lefty any day.
Yeah. We did it. 2 hours, 8 minutes.
Not bad.
We got there eventually. We
always do.
Today, I thought we weren't going to. The rap conversation I thought was going to derail us.
Me too, but I honestly think that we just spent more time on games than usual because we did it in under 2 hours last Tuesday, and we literally didn't get started for 30 minutes.
Yep, also true. Yeah, it's a different slate. A lot of big offense, a lot of high-level pitching. We had a lot to talk about today.
Oh, by the way, I've been trying to fill the void since Red Dead Redemption 2 finishing that game has left my life. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Which has been a while now. I know you were super into it as well.
Yeah.
We would talk about, murderous butchering methods when we weren't talking about daily fantasy sports. I got one called Days Gone. Heard some really good reviews, open world. If anyone's seen it, let me know if it's good. Any suggestions on what to do? Because I'm going to get into that a little bit today.
Oh, nice. Maybe I'll have to check it out.
I'll let you know how it is. It's only for PS4.
Okay.
But the reviews I read said it was all, and I like that open world stuff.
Yeah, you and me both. I'll check it out.
For sure.
All right, hit the like button, everybody. Subscribe to the channel. MLB Strategies, the promo code, 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, you can get Awesome O Plus for 50% off. Shout out to Yahoo for being the presenting sponsor of this show. If you want to sign up at Yahoo, go to the link that I am posting into chat right now, and sign up using the promo code AWESEMO, you get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Can't beat that. One last plug for the giveaway. Go to the pinned tweet on the Awesemo_com Twitter handle. If you guess the team that hits the most home runs today, you can win a month of Awesemo Plus. Just follow the account, follow the Awesemo MLB account, retweet, and reply. Coming up later today, Ben and Tim will be talking golf at 2:30. That's the 3M Open, another new tournament this week before the Open next week. Maybe that's 2 weeks. I can't remember. Deeper dive, 4:45 today. Lots of games to go through. Laffy will be back. Adam will be on. And the boss man himself, Mr. Moneybags from yesterday, Alex Baker, who told you on the deeper dive that his sneaky anti-optimizer play was the Pirates. That made out well for him, considering he increased his bankroll by 6 figures.
Let's start calling it the AOP.
Yeah.
The anti-optimizer play. I like the sound of that.
Me too. Live before lock tonight, Jake Hari and not me, Chris Randone. Live before lock combo with Jake tonight. So
Randone, the Rose Man.
The Rose Man, handing out roses. That's all we got. Laffy, anything else?
No, thanks for tuning in. And hey, we know these shows run long, but we want to make sure that we get as much comprehensive information in there as possible. And bullshit for a few minutes while we do it.
Yep, exactly. We had a lot to talk about today, guys. So listen on a faster speed. Download the podcast afterwards. You can really clip through it, especially now that I've got timestamps. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Later on, guys.